My name is Shirley Self, and I'm here to talk astrology. And today I wanted to talk about a woman I admire very much, Dolly Parton. Dolly is a moon phase 17, and it's wonderful, wonderful to see a moon phase 17 that isn't cynical and bitter and cranky. I recently did a chart of another moon phase 17, one Clarence Thomas, who is a bitter disruptor. His Uranus leads his sun. Like Donald Trump, his Uranus leads the sun. Dolly has Venus leading the sun, and that is a real need, an urge for status, and to leave one's mark and leave something valuable behind. So Dolly is a 17, and she is not bitter and cynical. The 17, is in the air quarter, one of the rectangle of sacrifice and loss. And you can see the loss in Dolly's chart. Well, let me introduce you to the chart here. First of all, she was born 19 January of 46 in Sevierville, Tennessee, in dire poverty. She's got a Virgo rising here, Sag on the IC, so we got Pisces on the descendant and Gemini on the midheaven. And that often happens with 17s, because 17s, remember, are they have created themselves to their own ideal, and that happens at 14 and 15. At 16, moon phase 16, created the perfect life for this ideal, self-created ideal person. And what a 17 has to do is to deal with the fact that nothing stays the same. Everything is changing. And so you see these mutable signs on the angles, and Dolly has to virtually dance along her moving sidewalk, because the world is in constant flux for a moon phase 17. And that means that anything that they set up and think is permanent and stable, friendships, whatever, businesses, whatever, change comes along, and they have to adapt to it. And a loss is supposed to promote creativity in a moon phase 17. And often it does not. Often it just promotes cynicism and bitterness. But I know some wonderful moon phase 17s. I've had several friends who are 17s, and all have to struggle with the fact that the minute they think they've got it made, things change. So this moon phase 17 had to deal with dire poverty. Dolly Parton has 7 cardinal planets. She is a dynamo. So immediately you've got the energy to create, and because that's what a cardinal planets do, they respond to whatever going on in the world with going into action. And so anyway, let me get back to my introduction here. She's got Neptune at 9 Libra in the first, on the cusp of the second. Chiron in the second at 21 Libra, and Jupiter in the second at 27 Libra. And it's interesting that the Chiron here shows that Dolly had, she was wounded. The Chiron is the wound that lets the light in, the wound that is your door to your heroic adventure. So Dolly had her wound in the second house, which is value, self-value. And it's interesting that she had it here. It's ruled by her Venus, and Donald Trump has this configuration, and it too is ruled by Venus. And you can see the different reaction to this wound to one's self-value. Whereas Dolly has altered her physical body great deal in response to this Chiron there of not being feminine enough to do what she needs to do, which is sing Anyway, so we've got the South Node here at 29 Sag. Notice that her Sun is at 29 Capricorn, meaning that that Sun in the 5th house of creativity is very, very important to her karma, to her future. We've got the Mercury in Capricorn here at 15 degrees, Venus in Capricorn at 26, Sun Capricorn 29. 29th degree is a critical degree, you know. And Fortuna there at 13 Aquarius. All this in the 5th house of creativity. This is also her body of fate down here. So it was the given the poverty that you see here of this square Jupiter here. This Jupiter in the 2nd does not give her at the beginning any luxury or even enough. Very stingy. So, okay, and now we have Uranus and Gemini on the midheaven, and that gives an unusual, a very unusual and ever-changing career. North Node up there on the midheaven in the 29. Okay, here we've got a Mars-Saturn conjunction, and it's tight, and it's in Cancer, which means that Mars is in its fall, and Saturn's in its detriment. And so they rule the creative genius. This is her inspiration, the poverty of her childhood, the losses in her childhood are her inspiration. Notice they're opposing the Sun. Use them, or they will use you. And we've got Pluto here at 11 degrees Leo, and the Moon in the 12th in Virgo. This is very interesting. Now you'll see that the Moon in the 12th is in conjunct to the Sun, and that is an issue for a moon phase 17. It's one of the ways you can spot them, is this in conjunct. So, where to go here? Okay, Dolly has not only 7 cardinal planets, but she has got Mercury, Mars, and Pluto are all out of bounds. Now, what is out of bounds? It means that they are beyond the norm. They are either higher or lower in latitude than the path of the Sun. That means higher than 2336 north or lower than 2336 south. And planets like that do not respond to the world in a normal way. They tend to be, who knows? They will go out of bounds in their own way. Like the Mercury, her Mercury, which is, now look, she's got a lot of reasons. Look, this Mercury is square Neptune. She's got a lot of reasons to be pissed, to be upset. But what she has done is to turn her anguish into music and into a re-examination of what is valuable in the world. And what she's telling the world is family and relationship is what is valuable in the world. She's making a bunch of money doing her own creative response to her life. And that's what happens with the moon phase 17. If they respond to the drastic changes that happen to them in their life, if they can respond creatively, it will lead them. It will lead them in a true path. They will be lucky. And so the Venus is a square the Jupiter. The Venus and the Sun are square the Jupiter and the Chiron. The Chiron is really important in this woman's life. That she's got a Chiron square Mars, and look how it's exact. It's called partile. It's square Mars, and that means that she had to learn to be very adaptable, which, you know, that's what a 17 has to learn to do, is to adapt to the changing, ever-changing conditions. and she has to find her own unique solutions to whatever the problem is she's facing. The Chiron square the Saturn gave her a difficult childhood, and ever-changing reality, which we see on as this reiteration of what's happening on the cusps of her chart here. To quote Robin Williams, she had to learn. Robin Williams was a 18, but he coined this real true phrase, reality is a crutch. Don't lean on it because it's going to change. And she has learned that. And the Chiron is square the Venus, and one of the things that Chiron square Venus can do is to help you to find beauty in places where other people do not find beauty, where other people find tragedy. And it's teaching. It demands that she learn and focus on what true values, not fad. So I think that the Chiron in the second is because of the trauma to her self-image, to her beauty, is why she enhances herself and has done a very good job of it, and has deals really well with the fact that it's obvious that she's enhanced. She's got a tremendous sense of humor that is self-deprecating, that I think people appreciate about Dolly. Her Venus square this Jupiter, and the Jupiter's in the second, and so in order to deal with the fact that she was incredibly poor, Dolly had to develop a good business acumen, and that's what Capricorn is all about anyway, and she's got the 3 planets there. Business. And she's done very well for herself. And the moon up here means that she donates, she finds the need and she fills it. I know that she donated a bunch of money to help develop the Moderna vaccine for the coronavirus. She wants the world to have fun, so she has founded Dollywood, and she gives money. She promotes literacy. She is very, very active, not only in bringing in the money, but in putting it in places where it matters and will be of help. The creative genius is up here. This is her creative genius. So this poverty that she lived is virtually her fuel for her creativity, and she's done really well with it. And it also demands that she learn to collaborate, that she learn to cooperate. Actually, Capricorn is pretty good at being cooperative. Tends to want to be the boss, but the Saturn Mars over there demands that she learn to cooperate, and she does. She is always partnering up with people, singing with them, and whatever. Remember the movie 9 to 5 that she did with Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda. Lily Tomlin is another moon phase 17. Jane Fonda is a 19. Anyway, Dolly wrote the song, the theme song of 9 to 5. And I think Dolly was pretty much the reason the movie was such a hit. Her poetry is, of course, she's got this Neptune here in the first house. And that makes her a poet. The leading planet of Pisces makes her want to leave beauty behind when she passes from this world. The community she was raised in, here's the poverty. You see this miserable Saturn and this miserable Mars rule the community where she grew up. and that is another indication of the poverty that she was raised in. So I think I've told you pretty much everything I needed to bring out about Dolly. I really like her. I enjoy watching her. I think that she's pushing facelift a little far, but that happens, and it's not hurt the beauty of her spirit. I admire Dolly Parton. It's interesting that the her progressions are have brought to the midheaven Regulus. The 28 is, I think she's in 28. She's probably at about 1 degree Virgo on that midheaven right now. And that's where Regulus is. Regulus, the heart of the lion, one of the, I can't remember what they're called, one of the royal stars. And the Regulus has moved out of a male-dominated sign into a female-dominated sign. And anyway, Dolly Parton has Regulus right on her midheaven, transiting right now, and it has really brought her into the public eye very prominently. Anyway, that's Dolly. I hope that you all are well, and that you remember to give the people you love a hug and tell them you love them. It's important. Take care.